大家好，歡迎大家收睇世紀亞奇峰國際嘅物業投資小專場嘅下集。上一集我哋同大家介紹到 Gross Rental Yield、Net Operating Income、Net Cash Flow 同埋 Net Rental Yield。咁今集咧，我哋會更加詳細去介紹下點樣去決定一個物業有冇投資價值啦。而今集我會為大家帶嚟一個實戰嘅例子，就係喺英國 Preston 嘅物業 The Exchange。咁而佢嘅 Preston 咧就係一個喺英國嚟緊會有一個重大發展嘅城市，咁所以我哋就揀咗呢個物業。然後咧 ，David 就會揀一個 unit， 就同我哋解釋下點解佢會咁有投資價值啦。So David, you pick up one recommended unit and you try to analysis why it's good for investment, right?
Yeah, so we're going to take you through one unit in the exchange. But Vincent, before we get started, what do you personally look for when you want to invest in real estate?
對我嚟講咧，咁當然係個入場門檻比較相宜少少啦。咁同時間可以帶嚟可觀嘅租金回報。咁更加重要咧就係如果呢個單位咧嚟緊可以有一個可觀嘅升幅，就更加好啦。So it's always the best for the appreciation, high rental yield.
Okay, good. Then you'll be happy to learn that Preston is a fantastic opportunity for investors looking for a high-yielding property in a fantastic growing city. So right here today, we're looking at the exchange. It has two towers, as you can see here. And today I'm recommending Building A, Plot 12. So Plot 12 is on the first floor, and Plot 12 is actually down here.
Okay.
And it is 431 square feet in size with west-looking views this way.
Yeah.
Okay. And the purchase price is £129,000, which is equivalent to £300 per square foot. The gross rental yield is close to 6.73%, while the net rental yield is 3.64%. The IRR on a 10-year hold is 6.69%. After you buy and sell the property over 10 years, you'll also have positive cash flow of £110,000, which is about 77% cash on cash return.
Okay.
All right, so what do you think so far?
咁呢個聽落去都好吸引喎，因為講緊話你啱啱講緊啦，我哋個增長每一年又大概有6.7% 左右啦，咁同埋一路就收住一個好大嘅現金流啊，咁所以非常之好。咁 But David, is it true? So based on what kind of data? So you give me this kind of conclusion.
Okay, so then let's sit down and we'll go through the numbers in detail so that you can understand better.
Perfect.
Vincent, so let's start with gross rental yield.
Okay.
Alliance Investments has advertised a maximum 7% gross yield for the exchange. To achieve a 7%, a rental rate of $750 per month is required.
Okay.
Therefore, we need to ask, is $750 achievable, and are current properties being advertised for $750? Now, the answer is yes. So the 7% developer yield is achievable based on today's asking rents, because they're in the range of £550 to £800 per month. As seen on the home.co.uk website, the average rent for a flat is $776 per month. For an investment in the exchange to be successful, we want the rents to be growing,
of course,
and we want the population to be growing. Okay, so we need to look at, have rentals been growing in the past, and are the expectations in the future, will they continue to grow? And our expectation is that rents will continue to grow based on the fact that the city is investing itself, especially through the city deal, which we hope you've heard about in one of our previous videos. Okay, so what do you think so far, Vincent?
咁而家其實講緊成個 Preston 都係做緊呢樣嘢，咁同埋最好嗰樣嘢就係講緊話我哋Lancashire 有個 City Deal Development 啦，咁 which is 咧相信未來嘅人口增長同埋個租金升幅咧應該會大大提升嘅。So David, when we looking at the investment product, so I heard about IRR. So what's that, and why is so important to evaluate an investment?
Yeah, so IRR is really important. Let's look at it so that we can determine whether or not your investment is good or bad.
Okay.
Now, the IRR for this property is 6.69% over 10 years. All right, so how do we calculate that? Well, let's define it. So IRR is the annual rate of return on all money invested into a project from purchase to sale of your property. It's calculated by discounting all cash flows from the day of purchase until sale, And you have to make the net present value equal to 0. Essentially, you solve for the IRR. And it's usually over a 10-year hold, which I mentioned earlier. So this allows for you, the investor, to compare, one investment with another, strictly based on IRR. Okay. Right? So you would always pick the project with a higher IRR. Simple, right? Okay. Now, IRR is much more accurate than net rental yield or gross rental yield because IRR takes into account all cash flows, including the initial investment costs and the sale of the property proceeds, right? Whereas, on the other hand, rental yields only represent a yield for one specific year. Right. So the most important variable in an IRR calculation is the assumptions used to predict future growth in both rent and expenses.
Yes.
Okay, so the 6.69 that we calculated, we tried to be conservative in our assumptions.
Yeah.
Right. So we use a 2% annual growth rate in rent.
Makes sense.
Okay, and a 5% annual growth rate in the service fee.
Okay,
good. We've also added a 1-month vacancy provision in case there's a tenant turnover and you need to rent out your tenant and take some time, right? Okay, so in our model, we've assumed a 3-year construction period.
Yeah.
Right, so today is year 1, 2021. So in 3 years, in 2024, is when you would get your first year of rent.
Yeah.
I mentioned a 10-year hold. So to calculate IRR, we end the rent in 2033, 10 years from now. Yeah. And then we assume that the property has been sold. And in our model, we've assumed that we're going to sell the property for $205K. Yeah. And this is based on an annual growth rate of 4%, starting with today's selling price of $129K. Yeah. Okay, so our reasoning was that growth will be higher than inflation, but we also expect growth to be much faster because of all the investment happening in the city of Preston. And we know it's a growing city with growing population. Now, so Vincent, what do you think about the exchange and would you invest in?
對我嚟講，我覺得呢個係一個相當吸引嘅投資項目啦。因為啱啱咧頭先 David 你同我講嘅就係話，我哋以一個好保守嘅數字去評估呢樣嘢。因為啱啱 David 所講嘅2%或者係4%嘅 annual growth 咧，其實講真係同而家嘅通脹率咧係差唔多嘅。而我深信咧 Preston 呢個地方咧喺未來嘅升幅應該會比呢個數字更加高，因為成個郡同埋成個城市咧嚟緊會有一個好大嘅 regeneration program 啦，所以人口會繼續增長，呢個係毋庸置疑嘅。咁同埋咧 David 啱啱好嘅就係你啱啱講到個 model 咧，我哋係利用咗好多唔同嘅數據同埋一啲好多時候其他 agency 冇計到嘅 cost 咧，都擺埋落去，仲會預估埋佢未來嘅升幅，即係例如啱啱 David 所講，我哋 service charge 嘅升幅都會預估埋落去啦。咁所以呢一個 product 係一個好吸引嘅，即係對我嚟講啊，我唔單止當佢係一個樓盤磚頭咁樣去保值啦，更加我覺得係當佢係一個新一個保守型嘅投資產品。which is 係每一年帶俾你6至7%嘅增長啊！咁啊，今集咧我哋暫時講到咁多啦，咁好多謝 David 同我哋做一個詳細嘅解釋啦，同埋一個分析。咁啊，下一集我哋將會介紹其他樓盤啦，同埋千祈唔好唔記得我哋同時間咧，亦都有其他嘅短片係講緊 Preston 呢個地方未來嘅發展嘅。咁啊，今日好歡迎大家啦，咁啊，亦都希望大家留意我哋嘅 YouTube channel 同埋 Facebook， 我哋嚟緊會一路 update 更加多其他唔同嘅短片。今日係咁多，拜拜，
拜拜。